must we do? Is it about time that we started having this discussion in terms of changing the policy and coming up with consequences for those who do not respect the policy? Because like we've just heard, this happens. We know about it, but we look the other way.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Basic Education Act is very clear on how unlawful levies need to be handled, and also the Board of Management of Schools that is established under the said Act is very, very clear on the role of the BOMs, and any fees, any levies that have to be increased first have to be approved by the Board of Management, and then the county Education Board has to review the same before the CS for Education gives the final approval. And we've seen a lot of violations of the same act in cases where principals inflate the fees in gross violation of the said policy. But that said, Dennis, the Ministry of Education recently carried out an audit of Alliance High School and I believe many other schools. And the report that has been made public really shows where the supposed hikes are supposed to be allocated. For instance, there have been mentions of trips to Dubai for staff that cost about 25 million shillings, and other schools also charge the motivational fees and so on and so forth. Therefore, if you consider the justification for this increased fees, it's not even due to inflation, which we know has grown to about 46%, as Daktari has mentioned. But what are the reasons why the principals charge more levies? We realize it's all about trips abroad. It's more about motivation of teachers and so forth and so on. And even that aside, we also know that there are other hidden costs. For instance, a student joining high school needs to buy school uniform, which is also very, very expensive. We know that Basic Education Act outlaws admission fees, and yet schools, especially in the urban centers, charge as much as 10,000 shillings for a child to be admitted into grade 1, for instance. And this is really not acceptable. Now, back to your question in terms of policy and the like, I would like to reiterate that considering the budget for education in Kenya, I do insist and repeat that if we can consolidate all this money that goes to the MPs, to the president, to the governors, and so on, then we would be able to close that capitation
Let me just
deficit.
That. There has been that conversation on collapsing all these funds and put it into an education fund.
Yeah,
so one then would ask the question, is there political goodwill or lack of it? The reason why we are seeing everybody wants to have their fund close to their chest because they have turned that to be a political tool for campaigning.
I would say, without fear of contradiction, that members of parliament have failed the child in Kenya because they use the CDF and particularly the bursaries as a political tool to reward those who support them and to punish those that don't vote for them. Remember that the Convention on the Rights of the Child has principles, and one of the principles is non-discrimination. And these MPs, Dennis, would even require the parents to produce voter registration cards to prove that they vote in Langata or in Bakassi or wherever constituency. And this amounts to discrimination on the basis of political affiliation and so on. And therefore, unless and until the people of Kenya call out these MPs to review these policies and uphold the decision that the High Court made in regard to the CDF, then we will continue to talk each and every year about capitation deficit and so on.